Hello everyone, it's Volume here, bringing you CPC Season 7 Majors versus Red Spark Vikavolts and their coach Dolphin Squared. And I recommend you launch my team builder if you want a team breakdown, because I'm not really going to give that. Important thing to note here, I believe I caught that I was defensive on Hoopa, but I didn't actually change Rock Slide. So I still have Rock Slide on Lando, and I don't know what it does, because it's not really useful. I guess I can go for Cheese Flinch if I need to, or something stupid. But basically, I'm looking at this team. There's no Gal. There's Sylveon instead. Really wasn't expecting Sylveon. I don't have Steel type move on Scissor to deal with that, but he doesn't know that. And I just didn't expect it to come. So I don't have the best ways to deal with it, but I'm not too concerned about it. Yeah, so I don't know what his game plan is. It's probably looking like, I don't know what his sets could be, so I'm not really going to make assumptions. I have what I think it might be, what things might be. It could be Combine, so I'm just trying to scout out. So I'm going to lead Lando and just try to get momentum, because Lando has a good matchup pretty much versus everything. I can U-turn out on things I don't want to. I actually hard switch here because this thing outspeeds me. I wasn't expecting it to lead, and he fake outs. So he knows my Compai set now. And it turns out that meant that I think that was actually fairly offensive fake out, or deep. I actually don't remember. But anyway, I U-turn on Sylveon. I think it's actually pretty defensive. And I find out that this thing is, I crit it, and I think this thing is it's like physically defensive too. So yeah, and he's toxic, which means he's not calm mind, which I like. And I HP grass, sleep chunk him, and I switch here because I expect him to switch, but he protects, and I'm like, all right, this thing's definitely not rest. I switch also because I think he's gonna rest, but he doesn't do that. I draining kiss this to try to chunk him there, and I go because I'm also wondering if he's gonna click toxic, but he doesn't. He switches on to this aromatherapy. We exchange things and get rid of status. So I U-turn out into Scissor because I just want to scare this thing out. He Calm Minds. I do not want to see Calm Mind. That's not optimal. I knock off because I want to get rid of things lefties or whatever it's gonna do, and I'm not a fan. But he goes into Aggron, so I'm expecting a Fire Punch, or he stays in. Like, I don't know what he's gonna do. I'm not sure if it's 4-attack aggro or anything, so I'm just gonna go into Volcanion because I quad resist ice and fire, and he and steel. So basically, if he earthquakes predicts me, which I doubt him to do because I have 2 flying types. So he avalanches, and it turns out he's based on that U-turn. He's fully physically defensive, by the way. So that's not like, that means he's just trying to kill Lando. That's what that means. And let me resume here. So Fire Blast, because he's switching out, and I go for the HP grass that he scouts me and protects. Now, I'm not sure if Steam Eruption will kill from this range, but I go for Steam Eruption anyway, and as he tries to predict me and threaten me out with Infernape, but I clicked Steam Eruption, and it was, I believe, that thing. Actually, I'm pretty sure that, so I can't remember if Suicon's specially defensive or physically defensive, but I'm pretty sure that was a slight roll for me to kill with Steam Eruption, but I was willing to take it, because I knew he didn't have recovery too, and I'm like, if he talks to me, like, basically, I HP grass because I want to kill it, but he protects scouts me. So maybe if you just hard switch because he knew I had HP grass, but I wasn't sure what he was gonna do, so I HP grass and he protected. So then he tried to switch out, and I switched my move, and he just sacked his Infinite, which is really impactful because that means I'm in a really good spot basically right now, because Suicon's almost dead, Infernape's dead. Like, that's his major offensive threat gone. Like, he's got Combine Sylveon, which is gonna be doing something. His Aggron's 4 attacks, or not 4 attacks. I don't know what his Aggron set is. So it's Avalanche, and so I'm not really sure what it's gonna do. But it's physically defensive. I think that could be annoying. But basically, I have to kill Volcanion, and yeah, Suicon's almost dead, and I don't know what Lottie is doing because he hasn't brought it in. So we'll see. So I should be able to win this game pretty easily. And see, Parting Shot brings Suicune back to full health, so I'm not in the best position I was, but I HP grass because I expect him to do this basically, and there's no counterplay for me there. And I go into this thing because I don't want to deal with this protect toxic stalling, so I U-turn out into this, and it's basically a switch game from here, and I Fire Blast because I want to kill this thing, but this thing actually has pressure, and I only have 8 PP on Fire Blast and Steam Eruption, so it's actually super annoying for me to deal with. And now it turns out he's sub, so he's sub lefty's Toxic Protect Scald, and I'm just like, I don't really care about getting burned at this stage because, like, I'm not really doing damage, so I U-turn out into Volcanion because I can sit here and deal with it. So I also have Sub Hoopa, which I probably should have gone into because Sub Hoopa can prevent not get toxic and stuff. It's nice. But I go into this thing and just break the sub with HP Grass, and I'm dealing with toxic now. So my Volcanion's getting chunked. I go into Thunderous just to try to set up on this thing as he substitutes. And I just switch out instantly again and go back to the Scissor. Now, I'm pretty sure if I set up there, I'd be in a really good spot and I could probably just win the game, but I don't. I'm not really sure why. I was kind of afraid of getting chunked out, and I'm Life Orb, and I know I take a lot of damage. I don't know what the Lottie set is, so I'm nervous. If it's Colbur Berry or I basically want to save Thunderous for cleaning up. So I U-turn on this thing, go into Volcano, and he predicts me, actually, this time, and Earthquakes. So my Volcano is pretty chunked out. And I missed this Fire Blast here, which kind of sucks, because I would have done a good amount of damage and chunked this thing out, and I'm taking toxic damage, so it's not good. It's actually looking like this is going to be really annoying for me to do. So I go into Comfey, and I decide I'm going to U-turn here instead of Aromatherapy, because I don't know what he's going to do, if he's having a Heavy Slam or anything, and he goes for Heavy Slam. So I predict him and go into Scissor. So at this point, I'm pretty sure this battle gets pretty stally, as we're switching back and forth, and I U-turn here, and he to project the Fire Punch, see what he's going to do. He doesn't Avalanche, he Fire Punches, so he reveals Fire Punch, and he's revealed that he's 4 attack Aggron, basically. That's what I didn't want to see. But I know he doesn't have recovery, so I just have to chunk this thing out. So now it's a switch game, me switching around this Aggron, which is super annoying, and my Volcanion is getting chunked out, and he's going to Sylveon. I hit a Steam Eruption. Luckily, it's 95 accurate, so it doesn't miss, and he decides to double switch here, because I'm just perfectly okay pressing Steam Eruption again versus Sylveon, but he switches here, and I'm now taking toxic damage, and he's on Lottie. So I go to Hoop and Ban, because Lottie does not get Signal Beam, but he subs, and I sub on his sub. And I really expected Gal, because Bug Buzz breaks through my sub here, but it doesn't. And he foul plays me there to break my sub. I Energy Ball just to get chip on this thing. So I switch back into Comfey, because I don't want to deal with this thing, and he party shots on me. So now he has the advantage here. And I Aromatherapy, because I just want to. I'm pretty sure I'm like, if Comfey dies, I don't care. And at this point, I'm like, I want to sack Comfey because it's not really useful. I don't really want to try to predict into this thing. So I'm just trying to sack Comfey here. I'm at -1 both times, and he avalanches me instead. So I just Draining Kiss. And I'm doing literally negative damage because I'm minus special attack. And I'm not even invested in attack here right now. So I'm doing basically no damage, but he's not clicking Heavy Slam, basically. He doesn't want to. So I even Synthesis on this thing to see what he does, and he's still trying to predict what I'm going to do. So that's it. I'm just walling this thing until he finally decides to click Heavy Slam, because I'm just like, well, maybe I'll do something. But I need to get into Volcanion, and I can't afford to take any damage on it, so. And right now, I'm kind of having trouble breaking down this Aggron. I'm pretty sure Thunderous can deal with it if I get to +2, but I need to make sure I deal with Lottie. There's a lot of things I need to make sure. And I don't know what this Lottie set is, but it's sub. So Thunderous is probably in a good position to clean up right now. So he Toxics me, and I try to break this thing down as HP Grass. I know this thing doesn't have recovery, so this thing's almost dead. So I've basically worn down his team a lot. And I'm trying to go for a 5-0 victory here. And it's pretty stally right now. So HP Grass happening. He's trying to protect stall me. My Volcanion is almost dead. I switch. And he is HP Bug or something. Like, what? I was not expecting HP Bug out of anything. Like, so he's not HP Fire. So, and that's what I mean. Like, Lottie doesn't get Signal Beam. It's kind of a weird mon. It doesn't get moves that you think it should get, but it's so weird. Anyway, I go into Scissor because I don't want to. Because he doesn't have HP Fire, but he goes into Persian and then parting shots on me as I U-turn out myself into Sylveon, and he goes into Sylveon. I just go into Thunderous and set up right now, and I sort of forgot that hey, I didn't realize how much that Hyper Force was gonna do. I sort of forgot that Persian outsped me, so I Thunderbolt this thing, kill it, and I'm like, I'm gonna win the game right here, but Persian outspeeds me, so I probably should have done a nasty plot because I'm pretty sure I kill everything anyway. And then I started like, this game's 53 turns. Like, this is a 55-minute battle. We were taking our sweet ass time with our moves. But I finally just get fed up, go into Thunderous, and just kill everything, basically. I Dark Pulse, this thing dies, Thunderbolt, this thing dies. And he kind of misplays here, because he probably should go into Persian to force me out. And so he finally does. Foul plays me. I eat another foul play. I almost die, but I crit him with U-turn. I'm not sure if I would have lived that, but I obviously have Lando, and I can U-turn there again, so it's not that biggest a deal. And he just ends the battle sacking Suicune. So he said he could have done better. He got hit with the Train of Life. I don't know what that means, but yeah, that's the game. So really stally battle. That was like an hour long. And yeah, I definitely had some misplays there. Super annoying to deal with Aggron, but and I definitely probably could have gone in the Thunderous earlier and just cleaned up. And if I hadn't been at like, what is it, 50, like really low, and because I nasty plotted on Sylveon, I think I could have killed it without the +2. I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, that would have been better to do if I could have just killed it. I don't remember the precise calc. It's been a couple days. It's been like a week. I'm busy. It's hard for me to record these things. But I'm trying to get them up when I can. So, basically, yeah. I mean, and there's points where I could have gone to Thunders, and maybe I could have just killed things instead of trying to set up and just use this as a revenge killer instead of bringing setup. So there's a couple problems with my team, and I'm not really 100% sure what he was doing. The fact that he sacked Infernape really early on basically set the tone for this battle that it's going to be really stally, and I could have probably brought it down to a cleaner victory and cleaned it up faster. But in the end, it's a 5-0. I'm pretty satisfied with that. So that means I'm going to be roughly at the top here, and hopefully I can just keep winning. That's my goal. I mean, I didn't expect... I wasn't like sure how well I was going to do. My team's really offensive because that's what I like to play with. And I have a lot of big threats that people have to deal with. So I'm not 100% sure how my team's going to play out. Right now I'm liking it, so that's what I'm going to stick with. And I believe I'm facing the Brighton Bewares next week. And Evan is their coach. So hopefully I'll do well in that matchup. Yeah, I haven't really looked too much into it, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm at the top of the CPC now, so hopefully I can take back the CPC throne as in my return to majors. 10-0 the dream. So hopefully we'll do that, but realistically I'm expecting to go 5-5. Anyway, or that's my goal basically. So I'm going to try to win as much as I can, obviously, but you know, I'm busy. Things happen. I'm making excuses. Thank you for watching. This is Volume signing out.